I've been listening to Orange talk, and I don't know how you put up with it. I really don't. You have the patience of a saint.
Hello there, Seraphim17 here, and doing my Portal 2 co-op walkthrough.
Like a boss, I might add. Thank you once again, EGG NOGGA, for that. So as you can see, we're backing the pearly grip of Portal 2, and we are now progressing into the second of the co-op missions. So strap in and get ready for a good 25 minutes of Portal goodness, and without the luxury of all those ridiculous loading screens, because anybody that's played this game knows this game loves to load. This game loves to load like other games on the PlayStation used to load, and it's just unbelievable. Valve, what the fuck were you playing at? But once again, it's been a while since I've played this game, guys, so I'm not going to be the best help when it comes to giving you play-by-play of what to do, what not to do. You're just going to have to watch what me and my buddy do here. And a lot of the puzzles themselves are not too bad to figure out. As you'll notice here, he has to put his portals down so I can fall to go through across here. He has to use his portals to get up there, and I have to do the portals that he did last time. It's just a role reversal, and it happens frequently throughout the campaign. It's not too bad to figure out, and I'm sure if you just watch it, you'll be able to understand what we're doing from just literal visuals and nothing else. But this is also a massive opportunity for me to talk about a bunch of other stuff, because I like to do it, and it's one of those things, but I can't exactly talk 25 minutes of pure Portal fiction. There's literally not enough canon in the Portal universe for me to start waxing poetic about, so it's probably best to just change a few subjects. But there is something Portal 2 related that I completely remembered before I pressed play to do this commentary, which I'd like to talk about, because it's pretty fucking amazing. And you can find this on YouTube. A buddy showed it me, and you actually know the guy, you've listened to him, the dude called Lummy from the podcast. He showed me this, and what it is a guy proposed through Portal 2 to his wife. And how it turned around is his wife was really into Portal. She loved to play it, and he ended up contacting the developer because he wanted to propose to her, and he couldn't think of a cool way to do it, and he suddenly got this amazing idea of doing it perhaps through the game. So he went to Valve. He basically, told them his predicament, and Valve created a custom bunch of levels specifically designed with this end goal of the game proposing to his wife. And you can watch it on YouTube. You can watch the full level progression and everything, and it is such a fucking cool thing. It is really awesome, and especially if his wife is as he mentioned, a really big Portal 2 fan. It's just one of those unexpected, just awesome bits, and I thought that was really cool. And it'd be nice to see stuff like that utilised in the future. And it's not like I'm the biggest, romantic of them all. I don't stand outside my girlfriend's house with a rose and a violin and spin some Shakespeare to her. That's just not how I do things. But anybody has got to respect that, because, especially as gamers, a lot of people these days have generally got a better opinion of gamers because they're gamers themselves, but there's still that kind of preconceived notion that we're all these, wannabe axe murderers that live with our parents for our entire lives, that never get out of a vest, that are all obese, all extremely, riddled with acne, all illiterate, all growing extra fingers. We've got this almost like fucking the hills have eyes mentality that's cast on us, just because people, old-fashioned people, are still in the fucking draconian age of thinking that when you say game, you mean board game. You don't mean, piece of electronic and digital awesomeness. They're still backing like, in my day we used to use the bat and ball and think we were cool. They're still in that kind of mindset, and it's just not how it fucking works anymore. You say game these days and somebody starts mentioning Call of Duty, and this puzzle right now is just a role reversal once again. You'll notice you go through the puzzles to gain velocity, then you have to remove the portal so that it hits them all the way across. When that lovely... Oh, we failed. And the reason we failed then is because I moved the wrong portal. You've got to move the correct one. And you've also got to make sure you time it so that thing doesn't stop him from flying across. So there you go. Perfect precision. Onto the next chamber. But I don't need to go on too much about how the media and how everything portrays gamers, because we're a cult in essence. We are a sect. We are a bunch of fucking psychopaths apparently, just waiting to pop, just a bunch of volatile pieces of explosives. We're nitro, literally nitroglycerin, just jumbling around in the back of a van. And, you know, anytime we can burst, anytime we can go on a rampage and kill 7 kids at our local school. And it's really not like that. There are consensuses and a whole bunch of stuff that prove that video games and movies have actually decreased the amount of violence and the amount of serial killers if you look into it. Sure, in the short term it looks like it might have increased them because it's, you know, glorifying violence, it's romanticizing violence, but at the same time it's taking away this random impulse of some, you know, fucking farmer from the 60s that wants to pitchfork his daughters. And he can now watch Japanese girls on a bus get gang raped, and it's all set up, and at the end they're all smiling. Or, contrary to that, if he isn't into it on a bus, he could watch a news presenter who is still giving the news while a bunch of Japanese men come up to her and, you know, get busy with fizzy. And it's in her hair, it's in her eyes, and she's still reading that news as if nothing's happening. So, it's cutting down rape, folks. It's cutting down bad things, and for me, I know why they do it. I get it, because it's a media thing, and it's also every country needs an enemy, every country needs a social enemy and an enemy for the media to focus on. And this is a topic I've discussed many a time because it's been heavy music, and I am a connoisseur of alternative music, and it's been movies, it's been music, it's been everything. I mean, it's never fucking religion, even though religion, you know, condones genocide, even though religion you know, does a lot of bad things. It does a lot of good things, but at the same time, they never openly come out and say, the reason this is happening is because they read the fucking Bible. Nobody ever says that, because if you said that, you would immediately be an enemy of every religious idiot on this planet. And we all know where religious idiocracy comes from, and we all know where it leads. So it's just a nation of fucking hypocrites. It's amazing. But back on a softer topic, because that came out of nowhere and I went off a massive tangent. I probably isolated and ostracized a bunch of my viewers, but at the end of the day, you know, it's my channel and I say what I want. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch. And it's a powerful thing, that. The only problem is YouTube is filled with people that seem to think they are God at everything, and they just want to come and drop an opinion. They would just want to come and drop and correct people, because there's this innate ability to correct people. Have you noticed that? Everybody has it. Everyone has it, but for some reason the internet, you lose your filter. In real life, you see a dude trying to do something and he's doing it wrong, you don't go up to him and tap him on the shoulder and say, sorry pal, you're a fucking noob, you do it this way. You wouldn't do that. The guy'd stab you. The guy'd probably use your asshole like a fuck toy. You wouldn't do it. On the internet, you would do it. You'd do it all night. You'd turn it into an argument over something you don't even care about. It's not even an ideal, it's not even a principle, it's just people being douchebags on the internet. And it's how we are, man. It's how we're turning out these days. We've got too much freedom, we've got too much, you know, anonymity, a word I always have fucking issues saying, anonymity, or whatever. We're too anonymous. There, I got it, nailed it. And it's a victim of the culture that we're now progressing, because we are an almost counterculture, because the internet itself is freedom in its very essence. And before the internet, it was all very, you know, preset. It was all, this is how the world is supposed to be, this is how everything is supposed to work, and if you want to go against that, we'll burn you from the fucking stake and call you the devil. So, you know, times be a-changing. But I want to talk about some topics, as I mentioned before I went off on a massive fucking ridiculous proselytizing speech. My topics are going to be as random as they normally are. I've been watching a bunch of movies, I've been watching a bunch of things, but before I go into that, I'm going to hand out a couple challenges to my subscribers, because I do realise that the only people probably watching this are the peoples, or the viewers that watch all my stuff, listen to all my shit regardless of what it is. Some of them just put it on to listen to, and I know I do that myself with the people I like to listen to, and it's a completely cool thing. And to those folk, anyhow, I want you to start commenting and dropping some films that you think I should watch. Films that you think are cool, films that you think are awesome. Just try and bear in mind that I watch a lot of films, guys. I've seen a lot of films, so chances are, if you're going to put, you know, something like, watch Die Hard, it's really good, it was made in 1987. It's like, yo, dude, I've seen Die Hard. I've seen Die Hard too much. That's not going to cut it. I want films that might not be the ones that get, you know, the widest spread, but you think are decent. And my only real limitations on them, because I watch every film, I watch all films, I watch ridiculous stuff. I generally give everything a chance. If I'm not interested in it, I'll probably still sit through it, but I'll just not enjoy it. The only ones I draw the line on are generally indie foreign films. And if they're not Korean or Japanese, there's generally no point, because I've watched a couple like indie fucking French films, and I've watched one indie Spanish film, because Aiden from the podcast, he has a buddy, an older buddy who's actually a teacher. And he loves all world cinema. The guy is like a fucking encyclopedia for the most eclectic shit. And he's on about like Australian indie films. And to me, there might be fantastic films, they might be fantastically acted, but I find it difficult to watch some of them because if they don't have a premise that immediately grips me, it's it's kind of like pulling teeth. So, but this is a ploy anyhow for people to get interactive with my shit. Drop some comments of some films you think I should check out, and hopefully I'll be able to get some stuff, because I'm in a really weird bind at this moment in time. I've broken up from university, I've got all my deadlines done, and I'm still kind of in a 90 mile per hour mindset. And at this moment in time, I don't really have anything to fill it with, because I don't know if you guys have ever had this. It's kind of a lethargic mood where you've got all the time in the world when you've had very little time recently, and you suddenly get a whole bunch of it, and you don't quite know how to fill it. You don't quite know what to do with it. And I'm looking at my shelf, and I've got like 50 Xbox games that I could play, and there's just nothing jumping out to me. And I do that thing where I'll go through 5 games in 5 minutes and turn them all off after a few seconds, because there's no impulse there, there's no ambition to play them, and it's really weird. And it's not that I don't like the games, I'm just in one of those really funky moods. It's just a lethargy, it's craziness. And I don't know if anyone's had that. It's a bummer, especially when I've been waiting to get some free time, and now I finally have it. It's I don't know how to fill it. I don't want to fill it. It's weird, and it could be that I don't know, I've not had sex for a while. It could be a lot of things that are playing in my subconscious theatre, but I don't know, it's weird. But this way, if you guys leave some movies, it gives me something to watch, something to keep me active while I work on the next guide or whatever. I've just sent 2 games back. I should be getting 2 tomorrow. Hopefully they'll not be impeded by the fact that it's very close to Christmas. Real fucking close to Christmas now. Don't know what I'm going to do for any Christmas things. I'm actually going to be celebrating my anniversary on YouTube tomorrow, and I'm not even sure what I'm going to do for that. I should really do something cool. I should really do something interesting. I should really ask you guys what you want me to do, or if there's anything that that anybody could request, because I'm kind of stickler when it comes to type of things. Like I've had some pretty weird requests over these last few days, some really fucking weird ones. Like a guy offered to translate my Uncharted 3 guide into German for German gamers, and don't get me wrong, I'm really, it's a lovely thought that somebody wants to go and do all that work and adapt a guide of mine into a different body of work, but at the same time, it's kind of self-explanatory, because even the people that can't listen to me ramble on about dick jokes for 20 minutes, they can see what I'm doing in the game, and they can probably understand the strategies from visually watching it. So to me, the idea of it's kind of redundant, and it's a whole lot more work for that guy. And sure, it might give me a little bit more exposure, but when you bear in mind that the guy's channel that he'll be putting it on is not exactly seen Anna's, so that's not me being snobby or elitist. It's just this guy's gonna do a whole bunch of work for something that's not gonna get any views. So it just kind of makes me think, why don't you just try and make a guide yourself, dude, or do something a bit more worthy of your time? Because one of the big barriers of entry into YouTube is how disheartening it is at times when you see people, when you run that search engine for a game you've just made videos for, or if you make a guide, you spend like 30 hours making a guide to a game. You put everything you've gone into it, you think it's amazing, you think you're the shit, and then you put it up and you get like 1 or 2 views, especially when you're small. You get nothing when you're small, and it makes you wonder what's the point in putting 30 hours into something if only 5 people are going to see it. And those 5 people that did see it, they didn't leave a comment to tell you if you're doing it right. You've just got to kind of judge by your own criterias that you're hitting the marks, and you don't know at the start because only 5 people are fucking watching. So does that mean that the rest, 2 billion people that are on YouTube at any given moment aren't interested in your stuff, or they actually saw a little bit of it and then ran away quickly and told everybody, yo, stay away from this dude because he fucking sucks? It's such a disheartening rhythm until you build up a subscriber base, until you build up a bunch of people that are there for you and not necessarily your content. And like a friend of mine that I was actually going to promote once he got to 100 subscribers has not put up a video for months now, and I'm kind of thinking he's given it up. I'm kind of thinking he's going to stop, because negativity, or not necessarily negativity, because I don't know his reasons, but when you start doing something, like for instance, I'm a writer. I've always been a writer ever since I was a kid. You can tell by my the words I use in my vocabulary, that I've got a pretty diverse understanding of the English language, and I used to love to write when I was younger, and I still do, and I actually have about 3 full manuscripts that are about 2/3 through the storylines that are unfinished, and some of them sit at like 300 to 400 pages, and it's like, it's not that I don't want to finish them, it's just I get distracted, other things come up like uni and deadlines, and it's just like, it's hard to find the time, and the longer you leave it, the easier it becomes to not do what you were doing. And it's like, I know if I started writing today and I wrote for the next week or next 2 weeks, I could probably finish it and I could feel amazing for doing it, because I've got the storyline in my head, I've got the conclusion in my head, I've got everything I want to do in my head, and it's just sitting down and doing it, and it can be the hardest thing imaginable if you've never been there, if you've never had that complete, just, you know, it's not a creativity block, it's almost like an inspiration block. And a good thing to compare it to is when you see other people do something awesome, and your first reaction is, wow, that kind of makes me feel bad because my work doesn't feel half as awesome as that is. And you can never feel like that. You can never look at anything creative like that, or you'll never push a boundary, you'll never go forward, you'll never progress into anything worth having. And at this moment in time, I'm worried for my friend, because he lives in my village, and when he started posting videos, he was inspired by me to do it. And immediately my first thought was probably, you know, like, whoa, dude's fucking copying me. But then when I watched his stuff and I realised he was making high quality videos, it was almost a competitive drive to make me want to make better videos. And it's something I don't really have, because I can't compete with these people, and I don't even know the names of them, but like, is it Robo something? He's a dude who's got millions of subscribers, he does pretty much every game, he does Let's Plays for them, and people eat them up. And every time you search for a game, his name comes up. His name and like media something, and there's another one like there's the game guides, there's like Malhallo Gaming or whatever that is. That one comes up all the time. It doesn't matter that some of their guides may be a complete fucking utter abomination, but they've got big followings, everybody likes them, everybody likes the people that work for them, and the popular channels, and you can't think that I'm competing with something like that, because if you do, you're just going to get your shit pushed in. It's that simple. They're too big, they've got too much of a following. You've got to just ignore them until you're on their level. And I don't know if that's what's put my friend off, I don't know. He says it's because of work, but like, you can be working a lot, but you can still find time to do something if you want to do it. That, to me, sounds like a bit of an excuse. And it's just saddening, because it's nice to have that competition, it's nice to see other people doing stuff, and I enjoyed watching his videos and watching him grow, and I don't have that now, which is a shame, but that is what YouTube can be like, people, and it does make and break a lot of channels. Like, the amount of comments that I get of people saying, what's the point in doing this, what's the point in doing this, and it's like, as soon as you start questioning things like that, is the moment that you fail, it's the moment that you lose, because you can't have that mindset. You can't be like, what's the point in making this guide if only 200 people are going to view the videos? You can't think like that. It is the death of everything, and you've just got to push through it, and that is the hardest part. I think that's the most challenging thing. And coming up on a year on YouTube, I actually have the credibility to speak of my experience, because I can remember putting up like 7 videos a day, uploading every second that I was awake, and leaving some on while I was unconscious, just to hit, you know, just to get content up, just to keep pushing things up, with the one mentality of, it doesn't matter if nobody's watching it, I'm going to make sure that I have a lot of content up, so if anybody does drop on the channel and they're like, oh, this is kind of cool and different, I like this, I wonder if there's any more, there's going to be 20 other videos for them to watch. And nowadays, if anybody drops onto my channel and likes what I'm doing, there's 1,000 fucking videos of other stuff that they can watch. And I don't really think it works like that, because I don't necessarily see that many comments being dropped on my older guides, but in you know, the dream circumstances, in the dream, you know, reality, that is what we're thinking, that is what everybody's thinking. You build a portfolio for people to discover, and I might do something for my anniversary tomorrow that features, you know, I don't know, putting up one of the first videos I've ever done and having it show when you come to the channel, just to show you how far I've come, or something like that, just to give people a juxtaposition, a contrast between what I do now and what I did then. And it's not all that different, but to me, when I look at it, because I'm hypercritical and a perfectionist at best. It is massively different. But once again, another massive tangent, and I'm going to finish this one off by speaking about some films, because I said I was going to, and then I got into that big hole YouTube is a mindfucker little thesis that I've got. But I've watched a bunch of films over these last few days, and there's no better time. Oh, nice fail from me there. Completely missed that. But the first one I watched was Final Destination 5. And I'm saying this, folks, because I love it. And I'm saying it partly because there should have never been a sequel. But the first Final Destination was a fantastic film. It was an awesome concept, it was a terrifying concept, and it was a really, really interesting movie. The only problem is, you make a sequel to something as predictable as Final Destination, and you run the risk of, you know, just bleeding the well dry, of completely milking the cow, and that's exactly what they've done. And sure, every single installment, they've got different deaths, they've got different situations, they've got a whole host of different things going off that make it more gruesome, or more visually disgusting, or whatever you want to say. At the end of the day, it's like watching a game show, because you know where it's going. There is no surprise. And for the most, the fifth one is very similar to this notion. It is a bad film in all regards. If you're wanting to watch a dumb horror film that's got lots of dismemberment, you might enjoy it. If you want to be challenged by your horror film, this is just like the second one, just like the third one, just like the fourth one, and it's got the same tropes all the way through it. And for those that don't really know what the films are about, who are not, you know, as indoctrinated when it comes to horror movies as myself and many others, it's basically about a group of people that avoid a natural disaster or accident because one of the members of the group has a premonition. He has a vision, he has a portent, and it tells him that something bad is going to happen. So he gets everybody out of the situation that he knows, the bad thing happens, and they effectively dodge dying. But in a world where fate seems to be the strongest variable, death comes back to try and, you know, regain equilibrium. He comes back to try and get the balance, because these people should have died, there's no reason for them to exist, and they've gone and fucked the timeline, just like Prince of Persia did, and all that good stuff. And they all die in increasingly gruesome ways, doing generally mundane things, and if you're a really nervous person or a paranoid person, you'll probably never move from a rubber cell ever again. You'll be having pillows on your walls, and you'll be in a straitjacket with like a mouth guard, because everything kills you in these films. Everything is malicious. Even dripping water turns into some fucking evildoer. It turns into some like shadowed figure in the alleyway waiting for the old woman to come past so he can snatch her bag. It is ridiculous, and this film is no different. And the bit that gets me is, why, oh why, do these people, once they notice a couple of their friends have died in really inconspicuous methods, why do they go to these ridiculous places? Like, 2 people die of really ridiculous things, and what does this girl think of doing? I'm gonna go and have laser eye surgery. That's right, folks, this girl, after her 2 friends have died from, like, fucking pillow fighting, or something really innocuous like that that couldn't kill you even if it wanted to, and then she goes and straps herself in this giant industrial machine that's going to shine a radioactive laser into her eye, and the doctor gets called out, because we all know it was going to happen. She's got her head locked in there, and like a dripping tap again ends up turning into knocking a ruler off, which knocks a fucking elastic band, which fires at a clock, which knocks a battery out. The battery falls and hits a cat. The cat jumps away, it knocks someone's dinner. Their fork flies through the air and hits a button on this machine, and this machine ends up turning its level of the intensity of the laser up to really unhealthy levels. And then for some reason, you know, a roof tile falls down and ends up landing on a turtle, and the turtle walks for 20 minutes and ends up accidentally tripping on a paperclip. The paperclip fires and presses another button, and then this machine starts lasering this bitch's eye and full on cutting her face, and that is the most horrific part of the film, because it's just like, I don't like stuff messing with my eye, and this is the worst thing you could do to a fucking eye. And she ends up getting out of that, and you think, oh, maybe she's safe. No, she's not. This is where it was always going to go. So she goes from this really horrific situation to tripping over the turtle, falling out of the window and dying. And you're just thinking, why? Just why? And why is it always the most attractive bunch of people you've ever met? Why is it not Barry and his fucking pub crewmates from the local building site that have all this shit happen to them? It never is. It never is. It's always three really hot girls that always have massive tits, perfect hair, and always, you know, have an excuse to bend over and show every single curve they've got on their body, only for them to die horrifically. It's never, you know, the Downey bus. It's never is. And yeah, it's a bad film, don't watch it. But I did. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next Portal 2 video. You take care now.